Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face while you're sleeping. If you've ever flown in a plane, you know that it's generally a safe and quick way to get around. But sometimes scary moments can occur in the flight to remind us that air travel is not without its dangers. Here are the top 10 most scary videos caught on airplanes. Watch out for number 1, as it shows a pilot's meltdown during a flight. Number 10. Hurricane Hunter. While the whole world was running away from the monstrous hurricane that hit 2017, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, sent Hurricane Hunter aircraft over the Atlantic, right into Hurricane Irma, to get a closer look at it. The NOAA Lockheed Martin WP-3D Orion captured video of what it's like to fly into Hurricane Irma, with footage showing the eye of the storm from inside. The video also showed a stadium effect, in which the clouds surrounding the eye stretched upwards, giving the appearance of the sides of a sports arena. The video is totally terrifying, but also breathtaking, as it shows mighty nature in action. Imagine being brave enough to fly into a Category 5 hurricane and come back unscratched. Well, maybe not completely, as the pilots must be traumatized to some extent.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
Number 9. Ghost passengers. Seeing the passengers walk up a jet bridge towards the terminal is a normal sight at any airport. But it's far from normal to see passengers deplaning on a jet bridge that has no airplane parked at it. So, when several ghost-like figures were seen walking up a jet bridge, it begged the question, is Phuket International Airport of Bangkok haunted? This clip was taken by an Airways pilot from the cockpit of his aircraft. Footage filmed at night appears to show passengers towing their luggage through a connecting bridge, reportedly towards the terminal. But the jet bridge doesn't appear to be connected to any plane, leaving viewers baffled as to where all the passengers were coming from. The video, which was posted on social media, sparked an online debate about the paranormal, with many users claiming that the airport was haunted. But it's really an optical illusion. Sharp-eyed viewers have pointed out that the jet bridge in question was, in fact, empty and not being used, and the ghost-like travelers captured were simply because the busy, brightly lit airport was being reflected on the bridge. Number 8. Sideways landing. Watching an aircraft land on a day with strong crosswinds is a hypnotic, breathtaking experience. The big metal bird comes in with its nose pointed askew. The wings may seesaw back and forth. The landing itself might appear rough or bouncy. And occasionally, the pilot just aborts the procedure and takes off again. A nail-biter of a video shows the world's largest passenger plane Airbus A380 landing in strong winds in London, coming in somewhat sideways, plunking down its back wheels in a crab-like fashion, then lining itself up with the runway as its nose wheel descends. The name is derived from the manner in which crabs move sideways across the beach. In a similar fashion, the Etihad Airways jet approaches the runway at an angle to cope with strong winds. Having struggled to make contact with the ground, the aircraft then veered slowly over the tarmac before coming to a rest. The commentary on the video is also very entertaining. Pilots really have a thrilling job. Sometimes they have to land sideways on the runway, and sometimes they have to use the Hudson River instead. Number 7. Sucked out. As a Southwest Airlines jet hurtled 32,000 feet over suburban Philadelphia, a rare engine explosion caused a passenger's window to burst. Passengers described hearing a loud explosion from the left engine, one of 2 on board, before debris peppered the fuselage and shattered the window. The woman, identified as Jennifer Riordan of Albuquerque, New Mexico, was pulled out of the plane up to her waist, with her blood spattering other windows. Fellow passengers frantically worked to pull her back inside the airliner as it depressurized and quickly descended thousands of feet per minute. A nurse and another passenger performed about 20 minutes of CPR on the victim, but unfortunately, it was all in vain. Another passenger, Marty Martinez, went live to show the whole world what was going on the plane. It was a terrifying video to watch, as he thought it was his and other people's last moments. Fortunately, just about everyone survived, except for the woman who died after the plane landed. Number 6. Please pray. A weird thing occurred on Air Asia D7-237 when the plane developed engine trouble 90 minutes out of Australia's Perth International Airport. Prayer is a feature of most human religions. In many an emergency, some non-believers have suddenly discovered a higher being and prayed for rescue or salvation. While the plane began shaking violently, the pilot specifically asked passengers to pray twice. Many people recorded and put stories on Instagram and Snapchat showing their concerns and fears. We believe in the power of prayer, but this seems to be the oddest way of reassuring passengers. On top of this, people have reported that the Air Asia cabin crew were showing fear. This is the time when they're supposed to keep their heads, instruct people in the safety process, and help people evacuate if and when needed. But instead, the pilots seemed like they had given up, and only some divine intervention could save them. Fortunately, the plane was able to complete the ride and landed safely. Number 5. Terrifying turbulence. Turbulence is a normal thing on planes, but the turbulence we're about to show you is something you'll have never seen before. So, sit tight. American Airlines Flight 280, carrying 240 passengers and 15 crew members, hit turbulence about 75 minutes into the flight. Without warning whatsoever, the plane just dropped and people started screaming. According to a person on the plane, the turbulence lasted for nearly an hour on and off. It was so bad that 4 passengers and 1 crew member were taken to the hospital. The airline said in a statement that the injuries were not life-threatening. In addition, several people were reportedly treated for minor injuries at the airport. People on board recorded the whole event, and one person even posted everything on Facebook. Isn't that just terrifying? Number 4. Miracle on the Hudson. On January 15, 2009, U.S. Airways Captain Chelsea Sully Sullenberger became an overnight hero when he and his crew safely ditched a commercial airliner in the freezing waters of the Hudson River after an unlucky encounter with a flock of geese. All 155 passengers and crew aboard survived. The plane took off from LaGuardia Airport with 150 passengers and 5 crew members on board. It soon hit a flock of migrating Canada geese and both engines shut down. But Captain Sully was able to successfully glide the plane to rest on the surface of the Hudson River. Passengers got wet, but all survived with no serious injuries. The footage of the plane floating in the river is really amazing and somewhat terrifying, with everyone standing on the wings of the plane. What would you do in this situation if you were the pilot? Number 3. Emergency landing. This next video comes from a YouTuber who runs the channel One City at a Time. Ethan Williams was on a Boeing 777 plane when it had to make an emergency landing on an island due to a malfunctioning engine. Ethan recorded the whole incident on his phone for his YouTube channel. Even the oxygen masks and safety vests came down, and the passengers were asked to put them on. It was a really terrifying scene, as you can see from the footage. When the mechanics checked for the problem, they found nothing in the engine or cargo compartments, and the flight resumed its journey and safely made its way back home. And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by one of our subscribers, so if you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it on over to us. Who knows? We might even feature it on a future video. Number 2. Flight attendant freakout. Passengers on American Airlines Flight 2332 were settling in for a trip to Chicago on Friday when they say a flight attendant took over the public address system and launched into a rant that included references to 9/11 and the safety of their plane. At first puzzled and then frightened, several passengers wrestled the former flight attendant, now fright attendant, into a seat while the plane was still on the ground at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. The attendant asked people to call 911, otherwise she could hurt the passengers, or maybe even kill someone. The whole incident was recorded on video, and it was released on social media and news channels. The pilot returned the plane to the gate, where it was met by airport police and by the FBI. After a delay of more than an hour, The plane finally took off. A federal law enforcement official who spoke on condition of anonymity because the investigation was continuing said that airport police determined the incident was a medical issue and not a security threat. The official said the flight attendant was taken to a hospital in Dallas for evaluation. Medical or not, this must have been really traumatizing for passengers. Number 1. Pilot meltdown. You've already seen a flight attendant meltdown at the airport, so how about a pilot ranting while the plane is in midair? Just weeks after an American Airlines flight attendant went on a screeching rant, a JetBlue Airways pilot had to be locked out of the cockpit by his co-pilot after yelling and acting unruly. Mayhem erupted on the Airbus 320 as the pilot, Clayton Obson, reportedly shouted, "Oh my God, I'm so distraught! We've got Israel, we've got Iraq!" after he was coaxed out of the cockpit by the co-pilot, who locked the door and changed the security code, according to witnesses. Clayton, who was said to have no history of work troubles, was suspended over the bizarre episode during the early morning flight from New York to Las Vegas. The plane then made an emergency landing. It seems like passengers are always going through something scary on planes. What's the scariest thing you've witnessed on a flight? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.